A week-long state of emergency has begun in New South Wales as bushfires burn across the state in catastrophic conditions. Temperatures are tipped to climb into the high 30s and strong, dry winds are expected to put lives and properties at risk. Declarations of a catastrophic fire danger are in place for Greater Sydney, the Greater Hunter area, Illawarra and Shoalhaven regions. This is the first time since the new fire danger ratings were introduced a decade ago that catastrophic fire danger has been forecast for Sydney. Catastrophic is the highest fire danger rating. The RFS says it's as bad as it gets, the worst conditions we've seen in more than 40 years. More than 500 schools and TAFEs are closed. Emergency services are warning residents that their homes are not designed to withstand a fire in these conditions, and any blaze that starts and takes hold will threaten lives. Residents are advised to avoid bushland areas, which for many means leaving homes for coastal or larger towns and cities. We have our reporters right across the fire zones this morning in Wauchope, in Maitland, the RFS and QFES headquarters. But first, Peter Stefanovic is live in Taree, where we begin our coverage this morning. Pete?
Yeah, good morning, Laura. This is the showgrounds in Taree, where about 100 residents have taken those warnings from the authorities to basically leave their homes today and ride out the firestorm, if we can put it out that way, and kind of hope for the best. They've brought their horses down here, they've brought their dogs, their animals, because all of the facilities are in place. Because for a great deal of the state today, the authorities are saying don't take any chances, particularly around the Greater Sydney region. But up here in the mid-north coast, it has been ground zero for the fire so far. It's where so many properties and lives were lost when those fires tore through the region last Friday. The short of it is here at the moment, there are still about a handful of really serious fires that are burning out of control. The authorities and the firefighters were able to get the upper hand and use the cooler conditions around the mid-north coast last night, but things could turn very rapidly, as we know, with bushfires. The great concern is that when this southerly buster pushes through the region later on today, there's about 3 fires that are burning out of control around Port Macquarie and Wauchope. The great fear is that they could connect, they could merge, they could cross the Pacific Highway and start heading towards coastal areas around Port Macquarie. Emily Burley joins us live now from the RFS Command Centre in Wauchope. Emily, good morning to you. What are you being told this morning?
Well, as you said, Pete, Port Macquarie and Wauchope are some of the areas that have been affected by fires in recent days, in recent weeks and months even, but most significantly since Friday. Now, the RFS last night revealed which fire paths it's expecting to see today, which the fire spread and which direction those might go. Of course, Wauchope and Port Macquarie, as you said, were represented there. Also further north, Coffs Harbour, a large area there, is quite possibly going to be affected. Further south towards Foster, that Hillville fire that's been burning for some time now, the RFS believes could spread, as well as a spattering of fires across the north of the state. But Wauchope, where we are now, is quite central to where these fires have been burning. An RFS command point has been set up here. Lots of resources on the ground, lots of crews on the ground ready to go at a moment's notice. The communities here also on high alert. Many have already evacuated these areas. I'm seeing across the coast people staying in evacuation centres from as far back as Thursday, but there are still a lot of people in their homes, but certainly on alert. Of course, by now people should have a bushfire survival plan in place, one that has multiple escape routes should people get stuck. Of course, road closures are expected if fires are to come through, but as always, the RFS's best advice is to leave early and not get yourself into a situation where you might become stuck.
OK, Emily Burley, we'll leave it there. Thank you. I want to go to Jackson Williams now. He joins us live from Maitland. Jackson, you are in one of those areas today where things could go catastrophic.
Yeah, it's here in the Greater Hunter as well as Greater Sydney, and then further south in the Illawarra and Shoalhaven region, where a catastrophic fire danger warning has been issued. In these catastrophic fire zones, the message, the warning from authorities is blunt. The risk is very real. It's in these conditions that where lives are lost, where people die. Yesterday we saw the fire warning for the Illawarra Shoalhaven region upgraded to catastrophic, joining Sydney and Greater Hunter. That is simply according to the RFS because the fire danger is worse than initially forecast. The advice really is simple. People living in these catastrophic fire zones, if they are not extremely well prepared, the last place they should be today is in their home. They should get out as soon as they can, early this morning, spending the day perhaps at the beach or at a local shopping centre. Everyone, Peter, certainly is hoping for the best today, but fire authorities, they certainly are preparing for the worst. In these conditions in catastrophic fire zones today, live embers have the potential to fly up to 30 kilometres ahead of a fire front.
Yep, Jackson Williams live in Maitland for us this morning. Jackson, thank you. You are definitely right about that. That is what causes a lot of houses to burn down, is as he referred to those embers that are picked up from active fires and thrown dozens and dozens of kilometres, and they can land in those gutters and homes and they can catch fire with leaves and that causes problems. So Jackson Williams there in one of the areas that are under that catastrophic danger rating today. Sam Dawson live from the Rural Fire Service headquarters in Sydney for us today. As we know, the Greater Sydney area, the Illawarra, Shoalhaven, Hunter regions as well, all catastrophic. What particular areas, Sam, are of most concern today?
Yeah, Pete, good morning to you. Well, they are, of course, very concerned about the catastrophic fire danger areas. In addition to that, there's also a number of blazes right now burning at Watch and Act level 9. In fact, around the mid-coast, the mid-north of New South Wales, there has been a concern that these fires will spread. Ben Shepherd has just spoken to us and indicated as well that this might even happen over the next few hours, which is quite early. The winds are still light across New South Wales as we speak. Across the afternoon, we're expecting Sydney to become under concern around 2 p.m. until that wind change reaches at around 7 this evening. And that wind change, as you mentioned, Pete, will then track up the New South Wales coast. And that is of grave concern then because it could change the direction of the fire front. Now, at the moment, we have 3,000 firefighters on the ground. The military has deployed helicopters and they will be on the ground as well to help people move from their home. As I mentioned, 9 Watch and Act warnings in place, 60 aircraft and 25 uncontained fires burning at the moment. The New South Wales Premier will tour New South Wales RFS headquarters in the next hour, and we are expecting a briefing from the Commissioner, so of course we'll have more information come to hand then. What we are really stressing today from the RFS as well, Pete, is that under catastrophic fire danger and of course a state of emergency, the RFS has full authority. So if they do ask you to move from your house, there is no question, there is no argument, you must move on and listen to them today.
All right, Sam Dawson, we'll leave you there. We'll touch base with you very soon. As you mentioned there, that is what authorities are really concerned about today, Laura, is that when that southerly buster comes through in the mid-north coast anyway, that could change the direction of the fire and actually force those fire fronts to merge and kind of create a super fire. So that is one of the areas of concern today. We do, of course, have the fire crews that have come up from Victoria to help us out too. Also worth noting, so many schools and TAFEs involving so many students. They've been told not to bother about things today. So if you do have any concerns or you do have any questions about that, you should check with your local school to see if it's actually going ahead or not today.